Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm Jamie from Project 9 Automotive, and this little beast is going to be our new race car. It looks a little shabby at the minute, but over the next few weeks we're going to be giving it transformation.
It's a Citroen C1 with a 1 litre, 3-cylinder engine punching a heavy 68 brake horsepower. Absolute powerhouse, I know. 0 to 60, course it can. And this particular model is a VT, which is the basic line with no central locking or electric windows. Some say poverty spec, I say super lightweight. Some birds have also given their opinion of the car, but don't let that put you off.
The aim is to build this with Lee to participate in the C1 Racing Cup event at Silverstone in September. For those unfamiliar, it's one of the cheapest cup racing events in the UK with tracks all across the country. You can either buy one to build like we are, or you can hire one. I'll put a link for their website below if you want to find out more information. The race is less than 2 months away and I don't have a lot of time to get it done. With that in mind, let's get in the garage and get it sorted.
Now I have built one of these many years ago for a different customer, so I've got a little bit of experience knowing what to do. The regs have changed ever so slightly over the years, however most parts are really easy to fit, so even you at home should be able to do it. To go racing you need the car to be as light as possible. That means removing anything from the interior that you don't need, such as the carpet, interior trim, some passenger seats, seat belts. Once all that's gone, then you can start putting the safety stuff in, such as the cage, fire extinguisher, race arms. So yeah, let's go. First job is removing the driver's seat. A nice easy job with 2 bolts at the front, 2 at the back, and then 1 wire underneath for the seatbelt light. Once the bolts are out, tip the seat back and then you should be able to access the wire underneath. Look at that, easy work. And now onto the passenger seat, same again, 2 bolts at the front, 2 at the back, and then there isn't any wire on this one. Now the rear seats, the base just pulls up from the floor. Once that's out of the way, you can fold the back down, and then there's 2 nuts either side. Once those are out, I would recommend trying to get a box to put all these nuts and bolts in. They do come in handy for other things, so just put them aside for another day. Now the seats are out, I can get to all the trim and the carpet and the seat belts. Try and be careful when you remove everything, because you can sell a full interior on eBay or the marketplace to get a bit of your money back. And I just want to add that all the music in this series will be from unsigned bands. This episode, all these tracks are from my brother's band, the CarProject. The links to their music on Spotify or Apple Music will be below if you want to give them a cheeky spin. And back to the car. Once the final side panels are off, I can get to the rear seat belts. They're just held in with a couple of bolts at the top. Again, put those aside and you could sell them with a full job lot. Final 2 carpet trims to take out. Once those are off, I just have the passenger side seat belt and then the driver's side seat belt to take off. Easy work, look at that. Next up is the roof lining. It's got a few screws that hold the sun visors in, and then it's on clips all the way around. Again, try not to damage it, but it is hard to do because it is stuck to the roof. As you can see, I'm using my tongue here for maximum accuracy. Once those screws are out, the sun visors should just pull down. 2 final clips at the back. Once those are out, we can finally pull it away from the roof. Once I take out that screw I've left in. As you can see, I was taking no prisoners here. I creased it like an absolute idiot. However, I wasn't in a mad rush here, so taking care of it wasn't my priority. Okay, so now we're onto the centre pieces. The handbrakes around is next, and we need to keep these, so put them aside, try not to get them scratched anywhere. These are to go back in when the cage is all welded in. Same with the gear sticks around, it's only got 1 bolt to the floor, and then it's just on clips at the front which pull it away. These cars are really easy to work on, so anyone should be able to do it. Not to downplay my expertise, but yeah, they are really simple cars to get apart. And now we can strip the dash apart. One screw to take the radio out, it just pulls away on the clips, and there's a few wires to take off like the aerial, the hazard switch, and then a few others. Once that's out of the way, again, keep it to the side. You do not want to scratch this because this also has to go up again. Yes, you heard that right, the radio's got to go back in the race car, which does mean you can listen to the radio as you're flying around the track. That is if you want to. Anyway, now on with the steering wheel. You want to disconnect the battery before you do this, and then there's 2 screws either side, and then the airbag should pop away from the steering wheel. Once it's off, there's 1 wire for the horn, 1 wire for the airbag, and then put that away, somewhere safe. 1 90mm nut in the middle. Once that's off, give it a couple of hits, and then it should pull away from the spline. Look at that, easy. Once that's off, we can take the shroud off with a couple of screws, and then we can set apart the main part of the dashboard. If you don't know what you're doing, it is worth taking photos so you know how everything goes back together. But as I said, these cars are really simple and easy to work on, so it shouldn't be too hard. A couple of 10mm screws at either side. Once those are out, there's a couple of hidden ones underneath, and then it should separate from the bottom part of the dashboard. Now we just need to remove any part of the wiring loom that's on the bottom of the dashboard. Once that's all out the way, it should just pull away from the frame. Careful not to damage any plugs or wires, as they all have to work when it goes back in the car. A few more little clips and screws. Once it's out the way, put it aside, ready to be cut up later on once the cage is installed. Final part of the interior to remove is the carpet. Unadjust the handbrake, and then it should just pull up from the floor.
Alright. More room for more activities.
So this is what we are left with. The dash is looking pretty grim, but it is all part of the build. Trust me.
And that is the interior done, I think. All stripped out, ready. Just need to get it on the ramp now. We're going to get the suspension out, get the engine out, ready to freshen up a bit.
I'm going to tackle the rear axle first, as that is the easiest. Everything is getting replaced with new parts, mainly the brakes for racing, as they're probably worn out anyway. Once I've got the wheels off, I can get that drum off and remove the brake shoes. 1 T30 bolt. Once that's removed, give it a tap with a hammer and it should come off. I've got a few spring clips to take off, then the shoes should come away from the back plate. Similar to the dashboard, if you have a bad memory or don't know how they work, take a photo before disassembly. Here I'm clamping the brake flexi hose so we don't lose any brake fluid, although we will be putting race fluid in when it all goes back together. The ABS sensor just clips off the axle, then I'm removing the brake pipe from the car. Once that's out of the way, I just have this wheel cylinder to take off with 1 bolt.
Corroded.
Final bit to get the back plate off is remove the 4 bolts for the wheel bearing. When you get those out, lather the hub in WD-40 as they're very tight to the car and can be rusted to the hub. As you can see here, I'm hammering away with a punch. I'm trying to hit it here without damaging anything, as it has got to go back on the car, but we are getting a new wheel bearing, so that's not to worry about. Finally, when that's out the way, I can tackle the axle. A little plate to take off at the front, 1 bolt for the handbrake cable, and then 1 bolt for the shock absorber, and the spring should come out once it's let down. And then same on the other side, that little plate to take off, handbrake cable to take off, and that 1 bolt on the shocker. Easy work. two 19mm bolts at either side of the axle. Once those are out, it should just come down nice and easy. Try and get someone to give you a hand to take it out, as it can be quite heavy. Lee's away on holiday, so I used 2 transmission jacks, which did the job just as well.
Alright.
And there's the rear axle off the car. I'll give it a clean around the arches before it goes back in, but for now it can be sent off to quality coating surfaces northeast for a clean up. I'm getting them sandblasted, then coated in black to make it look fresh out the box again. Oh, that absolutely melting Johnny needed there. If you are building one of these, then really you want to find one with the lowest mileage, rust-free example you can find. If it's got 100,000 miles on, just keep looking, there's better examples out there. I found mine, I think I got it for 1,300 quid, but if you look on eBay, you're going for like, I don't know, you can get some for 600-700 quid, really cheap cars to do. You don't want to be bolting new parts on the car that's going to crumble or fall apart when you're racing, so do the best you can to have a look, make sure you check it over properly and find a good example to put all these new parts on that you're going to have. And then the car lasts longer when you do it as well. Yeah, I guess get back to it. Next up, I think probably front hubs and engine bed, but I think I need to take the exhaust off first. So yeah, like the rear, they're getting shot blasted and powder coated. Again, if you're doing the racing, you don't need to do this, but I want to make sure it's all nice and fresh for the race. Let's get started. This P-shooter exhaust is another simple job. One clip for the lambda sensor, unclip it from the bracket, and there's 2 14mm bolts what hold it to the cat. One rubber in the centre to take off, and then a couple at the back, and it should just drop down. Time to get them hubs off. Remove the split pin from the TrackCar end, lather it with WD-40, and it's a 17mm nut to get it off. Once that's off, give it a light tap with a hammer and it should separate from the hub. Easy! Now the drive shaft nut. Spin that bad boy round, then we can get to the 2 bolts holding the caliper carrier on. When they are off, prise the caliper off the disc, then get your favourite hammer to send that disc to the scrapyard. Easy! Remove the heat plate from the ABS sensor and unclip the wire from the hub. Now we can get to the pinch bolt for the shock absorber, a 19mm nut for the bottom arm, the wheel arches also have to come out to get the ABS sensor off. This is held in with clips and they're plastic and they can break, so be careful as these do need to go back in the car. A few bolts underneath will hold it to the under tray. Pull it away from the arch, and there's 12 years worth of dust on the floor. Lovely. Get that ABS clip off. Now just need to get the bottom arm off, give it a couple of taps, use a bar to release it from the hub, get the drive shaft out, and then we can just tap away to get it off the shocker.
Voila.
And it's the same process on the other side. Everything you see me taking off the car is going to be replaced by new parts, kindly supplied by our sponsor D.WARD Automotive in Bishop Auckland. They've sent us out everything we need, such as a timing chain, clutch, bearings and bushes. If you're local to the area and need any automotive parts, don't hesitate to give them a call. They can also supply your car with paint. I'll put a link for their website below if you want to find out more. The rest of the parts are supplied by the C1 Racing Club, such as the extended arms, drive shafts, blown springs and a few other bits. All details I'll put in the caption below if it is something that you're interested in building yourself, or even if you just want to have a look at. Right, back to the car. Get that 19mm nut off the bottom arm, release it from the hub, and then tap away like a maniac to get it off the shock absorber.
A few moments later.
One up.
Front axle up next. Remove the two upper bolts holding it to the chassis. One on each side. Drain the gearbox oil out so we can get them drive shafts out the way without getting fluid all over. I'm not draining the fluid on the floor here, I promise. Get them anti-roll bar links off the arms. It doesn't matter about damaging these, but we have new ones to be fitted. Tighten that drain plug back in. And then the drive shaft should prise out of the gearbox. Couple of bolts holding the engine mount in to the frame. Two bolts for the steering rack, one on each side. And that should be everything disconnected from the subframe. So remove the rear bolts from the car, then lower it down gently away from the chassis. And that, my friends, is how you remove the subframe. I've cable tied the steering rack up out the way to prevent it being damaged. And that's everything that we need off that's getting powder coated. Happy days. Next up is getting these bumpers off. They have a few battle wounds, but nothing a quick sander won't sort out at the body shop. Like the rest of the car, these are another simple job. A few clips on both sides and gently pull it away from the quarter. A few bolts underneath. Get the clips off the other side. Then there's a few bolts on the top. Magic! Same goes for the rear. Two bolts at the top, a few clips underneath, and you can pull it away from the quarter. Not forgetting that sneaky hidden bolt behind the fuel cap. Pull it away from the frame of the car, nice and gentle, and then remove the wires for the number plate. Job is a good one. Final thing I want to be taking off the car is the engine and gearbox. I want to replace the time changes for peace of mind, and the clutch probably worn out. Might not have even been changed since it's new. We're going racing, so I want to do it fresh. So after that we can finally start putting bits on the car. Right, so it's the final stretch now. First thing to get out is all the fluids. That's just the engine oil and the coolant, as I've already drained the gearbox oil. While those are draining, I can remove everything from the top of the engine, such as the airbox, throttle cable, fuel and vacuum pipes, get all the wiring loom off the engine. Take plenty of photos if you are doing this yourself. However, all the plugs only go into one sensor and they all have a place to go, so it isn't the hardest to assemble. Here I'm taking the loom off the back of the engine. It's held on with clips which pull out. Careful not to break those cheap plastic clips though. Once it's all unplugged, I can feed the loom away from the engine, out the way, and cable tie it up somewhere. Here I'm taking the radiator hose off, then I'm taking the battery clamp off so I can get the battery out of the way, and then the battery tray can come off. It's got a few bolts that hold it to the chassis. And that's pretty much all the wiring loom away from the engine. Lovely stuff. Always have a good check around the car like I am here. Make sure nothing's still connected or going to get in the way of the engine when we drop it down. Must also add, you don't need to do all this work to race the C1s. You can just buy the kit and bolt it all on. However, I'm making this car as mechanically perfect as possible so we can hopefully have no issues when we come to race day. Now I'm taking the underguard off, so I'm getting the radiator out of the way so it doesn't catch on the engine when we're removing it. Once that's off, there's a few bolts on either side for the engine mounts. I've put it on axle stands here. I do have an engine crane, but it is easier doing it this way, I think. And that's how you remove an engine from a Citroen C1. Simple stuff compared to most cars. All ready for the next episode where we'll punch a load of new parts in this bad boy. Well, I think that's it for today. Car's fully stripped. I think the next video will be the rebuild of all the suspension with all new parts, make it a rolling shell hopefully. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It won't go missed, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye! It's